Oh, great. Thanks for taking my call, guys. Great to talk to you. I just had a quick question. So I'm thinking about, how do we beat LSU? Now, we know LSU has a good quarterback in Garrett Nussmeier. They have really good skill players. So do we stack the box, take away the run, and rely on the secondary to play man or cover 3? Or do we, rush 3 and drop 8? My view is we've got to take away their run game, and we have to put pressure on the quarterback. But I guess my question is, what's the prescription to beat LSU on defense? Now, on offense, I think we can exploit their secondary, but it doesn't matter if we score 30 points if they score 35, or if we score 40 and they score 45. So what do you think is the best practical way to defeat LSU and kind of mitigate the damage that their offense is going to cause?
Well, so last year, correct me, both you guys, if I'm wrong, but their leading ground gainer was the Heisman Trophy quarterback. Is that correct? Didn't Jaden Daniels have lead the team in rushing? Yes. And I believe when we had I forgot his name from LSU. He basically said that that he didn't really shine about their running back room. I could be wrong. It could be downplaying it. But they do have those 2 tackles. We know they're going to be really, really insane. Malik Neighbors is no longer there. So I'm not downplaying what USC is going up against. I'm really not. But this is not the 2019 LSU team. This is not the 2020, even the 2023 LSU team with a Heisman Trophy almost called running back quarterback who can hurt you with his leg, and Jaden Daniels, as we know as Trojan fans, could also hurt you with his legs. Nussmeier's not that kind of he doesn't have that, but a lot of people are high on Nussmeier, saying that he's ready to take that step. Thank you, Matthew. It was Matt Moscona. That's right. Sorry about that. Yeah, came in. You guys, if you haven't seen that, it was on one of our Monday shows. If you're thinking about the LSU game, go back there and take a look at that. He did a great job breaking down the game for us, and I'm really embarrassed I forgot his name. I'm gonna say it again. I'm down with what Danton Lynn's gonna do, because I know he knows who we have for our personnel. He's gonna tailor the defense to that. Here's what's great. He has all off season to prepare for this game. I think he knows what they're probably gonna throw at him. But they have a new offense. They have a new offensive coordinator. They lost what's his name to they lost offensive coordinator to Notre Dame. So I guess in a way you don't know what's coming at you, but what we do know is that the offense we saw last year and the offense we saw in 2019 is there. Now, what has it been replaced with, right? I honestly don't know enough. Matt, do you have a little more information? Matt Moscona did break it down for us, but I know they lost they're like us. They lost a hell of a lot, right? But at a school like LSU, they're going to, that they recruit down there. Louisiana is one of the most amazing places especially for skill athletes there is anywhere. So I'm sure that they're going to have some playmakers, but I wish I had a better answer for you, Adam, but I really don't know. I know that everyone's assuming they're going to try to run the ball and run the ball at us. I think that's just because the narrative is our defensive line can't hold up, and whatever the narrative is on that, and the fact that they have those big tackles. So that's what SC's got to show they can stop that. But other than that, Matt, do you have any thoughts on how they're going to stop the LSU offense?
Well, Adam, first off, thanks for being our NIL director here at the Conquest Collins Show. We really appreciate your lavish generosity. You're doing a much better job than Jen Cohen, that's for damn sure. But
I'm not going that far.
Let's dig into the LSU conversation. There are a lot of things that I've been thinking about recently that I'm gonna write about them over the weekend at Trojans Wire. And obviously, there's 4 weeks until the game, so there's going to be a lot of different pieces from a lot of different angles. But I think the big thing I want to stress, and I'll talk about, Adam, the specific matchup between USC's defense and LSU's offense in a bit. But for everyone watching here at the Voice of College Football, for all of our Trojan fans and for non-Trojan fans as well, looking in from the outside, I think the big thing to try and begin to grasp, or at least understand about this LSU game, the fact that it's week one, last year, and I know Gary from Dana Point has been making this point, and that's why we love Gary. Gary's been saying, he thinks it's good that USC gets a huge test right off the bat because playing cupcakes early last season lulled the team into a false sense of confidence, a false sense of superiority. And then when the meat grinder began in the middle of the season, Notre Dame, Utah, Oregon, Washington, team was just not ready. Like there was a sense of, we're good, and they really weren't. But this year, because you have ultimate challenges right off the bat, team's going to have to be good at the start. But we all know in week one in college football with no preseason, crazy stuff happens. And the concern is, this defense, I do agree with Tim that you're going to see improvement steadily, consistently throughout the season. But what if game one's the clunker, right? We might be really mad. We might be really disappointed if that happens. But we've seen college football teams so many times. They play the bad week one game, and then they play great. Like that takes one game with a lot of mistakes to figure out what everyone's doing. It all snaps into place in week 3, week 4. Think of the 2016 USC team, right? The team that just got dismembered by Alabama, but then that was the game that helped the staff and Clay Helton realize, Sam Darnold's actually the guy, not Max Brown. And then you saw the 2016 Trojans take off in late September, and they were awesome throughout October and November. Maybe that's going to be the trajectory for this team. But the point I'm making is we should expect a lot of flaws. We should expect a lot of mistakes. Like, we're not going to see a polished product. The polished products should be there by October 12 against Penn State. Like that's the game I'm circling where, okay, if you've had some rough edges by October 12 against Penn State, you need to have everything in order. Like, everyone needs to know what they're doing. They all need to have their SHIT together. But in week one, it's probably going to be messy, and USC is probably going to need LSU to make mistakes. And fortunately, Brian Kelly LSU teams, the past 2 seasons against Florida State, they have made mistakes, lots of them, in a week one game. So I want everyone just to realize that we all have a certain expectations for this team. We all have a blueprint of what a good USC team is going to look like this year. We might not see that come to full fruition in week one. And I would just say it might not look very polished. It might not look very elegant. Just get a win. It could be the ugliest win in the world. But if USC can just post the result in week one, then we can move forward. Then we can all learn a bunch of lessons. Then we can all figure out our roles better, for all these players and for how the coaches can bring them along. But don't expect a masterpiece in week one, win or lose. It's all about just survival. That's the point of emphasis. Now, to answer your question very quickly, I would say, precisely because it's a week one game, Adam, you don't want to make the big mistakes right off the bat. You don't want to give up that 80-yard splash play. You don't want to just overrun a gap or get caught off balance. So I would say play center field. Make sure you have someone really deep in the first quarter. Try and just get through the first quarter and force Nussmeier and that LSU offense to throw a lot of short passes. If LSU is able to go 13 yards or 13 plays, 80 yards in 7 minutes, we all hope that doesn't happen. But, you make them go 13 plays if they're going to score 7 points at the start of the game. I think you need to force LSU to be patient, just as you'd force any college football offense to be patient in a week one game when everyone on both teams, doesn't have rhythm, doesn't have established continuity. You're going to try to avoid giving up the big home run in the first quarter, first 20 minutes. And then as the game goes along, after just trying to rely on your base front four to get pressure, then maybe you mix in a corner blitz, the kind of thing that Pete Carroll was so good at doing, early in the third quarter of a close game. He'd find that corner blitz. He'd do his halftime film study. So that, to me, is the basic approach for the USC defense. You try and be a little vanilla, and you play it safe first quarter. See if your base guys can get a push up front, just see what you have. And then as the game goes along, then you try to be more creative. Then you try to send some people. Then you try to mix things up to confuse Nussmeier. I think that's the way to play it.
If you want to talk about a litmus test, if USC is able to get pressure with 4 against those tackles, holy crap. There you go. Oh, holy crap. And listen, Jamil Muhammad is going to be that kind of that big veteran guy. Braylon Shelby, you don't want to be sleeping on him whatsoever. And then the young guys coming. I mean, that's a tall ask, Matt, to ask those guys to get pressure with 4. But if they're able to get pressure with those 4 against those tackles, then holy shit, look out, because then I think people need to start upgrading their expectations. So I'm with you. Let's watch first quarter, Matt, and see. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what they're gonna do. Maybe come after him. Maybe you want to rattle him early. Maybe you want. It's not. It's a neutral game. It's technically on the road for them too. And Allegiant Stadium, you guys, is not a big stadium, and it's enclosed. And it gets loud, and if we bring it, if the Trojan fans bring it, LSU's could be loud. If we can get out to a quick lead, shut them up and get on it, and then bring that pressure. Well, I don't know. That's there's 2 ways to go with that thing, and it'll be interesting to see what they do. Absolutely.
Yeah. You guys make great points, and I'll just briefly say, I think to win that game, number 1, Riley has to control time of possession. We have to win that battle. Number 2, when the defense is in the red zone, they've got to give up field goals and not touchdowns. And number 3, they've got to control their emotions and stay disciplined when the momentum shifts to LSU. And I think if we do that, we can be competitive and possibly even pull the upset. So thanks for taking my call, guys. Great show as always. And, have a great evening.
Well, thank you, Adam, again. And thank you for sponsoring the Adam Lamparello hour number 2 here at the Voice of College Football USC. I appreciate hearing from you every week, and I appreciate the continued support by everybody, but you in a very special way. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thanks a lot, guys.
All right, bye, Adam.
So how are you? So obviously the defense has gotten a lot better, as you guys have been saying. How are you feeling about the DBs in particular? Because obviously I actually don't know any of the LSU guys off the top of my head that are going to start this year, because I think Neighbors and the other guy also both went to the NFL.
Well,
but do you guys think that they can hold up a bit, or do you think you guys will have to get him rushing 4 to be able to hold up? Get to Nussmeier with 4.
You never know what the next bumper crop of superstars is going to be, but they lost Neighbors, like I said. They lost Brian Thomas. They like
Brian Thomas, that was the other guys.
Yeah, and then you have I'm blanking out. I just said his name 5 times. Quarterback Jaden
Daniels.
Daniel.
Sorry, it's been a long day, guys. So you can't just you can't reload it. Everyone's talking about how USC lost Caleb. What are they going to do? What's their offense going to be like? And yet LSU loses a big chunk of production. So again, 3 NFL first rounders, and the discussion is really not that much. It's really a lot of it's on USC. I think the strength of this USC team. And here's the thing, and I say this, and I have no idea what this defensive line is going to be. I think at worst, this is going to be a solid. We're going to have a very, very good, solid defensive line. At best, with a question mark on depth in the interior. At best, holy crap! I honestly, and I'm not just saying this, I don't know what the ceiling for this whole group of guys are. I just don't know. There's a lot of question marks. But if that depth is there, and if these guys all play to potential. We're here to talk about, Coach Newell, Coach Henderson, and singing their praises. I know that they're going to get these guys ready. But at this point, I would definitely say that the strength of this defense is going to be the secondary. And I'm excited to see this. There's going to be a huge fight for at the corner position. That's for sure. I mean, there's it's most likely that you're going to have John Humphreys, at one corner, and then you're going to have either, Jacoby Covington, and from I'm sorry, I'm blanking on Nicholson, on the other side. So I don't know. I don't know what it's going to be, but it's going to be good competition. And the depth you have at safety and the depth you have at corner, that's really the strength. You have Mascarenas Arnold's brother, Akili Arnold. He's going to be at safety. I don't know, Matt. Do you see a weakness in the secondary? That's with Kamari Ramsey knowing the defense as well as he does. It's just when we talked about, at least when I've talked about, what the strength of this defense, what we do know about it is, and what shined. And if you looked at the spring game, I know it's just a spring game, but it was the secondary that really showed out in that spring game. So a lot of length. You even had Williams, young freshman, true freshman, getting interception in that game. So I really do like the fact, one, they lost a lot of talent in their passing game, and two, I think it's a strength of our team.
Yeah, I think a key point is just that, Danton Lynn has 2 UCLA guys coming over to USC. So once again, those are going to be coaches on the field. Those are going to be guys who already know the system. They can just communicate, relay information to their teammates. That's gonna really accelerate the process of getting good habits and instincts ingrained. And we have to emphasize this point that remember, in the off season, college football removed the limits on the number of coaches who could coach in the stadium and on the practice field. There was that limitation. And that limitation is what prevented Lincoln Riley from hiring a special teams coordinator. But now that that limit's gone, that means that an analyst such as Taylor Mays, he's now free to provide hands-on coaching. Like we know that this policy change from college football, it occurred. I'm not sure we all realize just how much of a potential benefit that could be to USC, that Taylor Mays is now allowed. He's free to coach this secondary hands-on. Like we all saw what he did in the Holiday Bowl. A year of Dante Williams did zip. Taylor Mays gets 2 weeks with that secondary for the Holiday Bowl, and he whips everybody into shape. So Taylor Mays helping Doug Belk with the secondary. I just think that the quality of teaching is going to be so good that these guys are going to be ready. It's hard not to be optimistic about this secondary. I think optimism about the secondary comes across very naturally. I wrote at Trojans Wire earlier today, and I'm promoting my work a little bit more just because I didn't want to sell my work in the off season, partly because no one really was reading the website, but also because
there's not much to do in the off season.
We really are into the season now. So I will be promoting my work a little bit more, and you can read it at trojanswire.usatoday.com. One of the things I wrote today was, hey, Dante Williams flipped Dominic Kelly from USC to Georgia. Should we be mad? Should we be upset that Dante Williams got away? Well, I wrote very emphatically, no. And the biggest reasons we should not be upset that Dante Williams got away to Georgia and Kirby Smart, Doug Belk, and Taylor Mays, because you're getting such a better quality of coaching, of teaching, of game preparation. It's going to show on the field the value from the quality of coaching that USC has in this room on this staff. It's going to make it very easy to shrug off any recruiting win that Dante Williams gains for Georgia.
Let me make my usual attempt to illustrate something. Prior to Napoleon taking over in France, they were run by a political party, the Bourbons, like in the liquor, the Bourbons. And then when Napoleon was vanquished the first time, then the Bourbons came back into power. And the noted philosopher Robespierre said of the Bourbons, they learned nothing and they forgot nothing. And that's sort of a profound idea. And what's my point? Lincoln Riley has learned everything he needed to learn about what to be and what to do. And I think our secret weapon, if you will, is the fact that we are going to be armed and dangerous. If I was a USC player last season and I came back this year, I'd be ready to run through a wall to silence the mockery and the reviling of USC that's gone on. I would be ready to go anywhere and do anything. I think that football is 90% mental, and we've heard that before. But I think our weapon is we have a mindset. We're not like the Bourbons, where they came back and learned nothing and forgot nothing. Riley learned everything he needed in the off season, and I think it's going to be translated on the field. I would be shocked if we weren't a juggernaut to be reckoned with. Maybe I'm not predicting 12-0, but I'm saying I think we have the great coaching there in all of our assistants. But Riley is on a mission, and I have a feeling some of these kids are on a mission as well. The last thing I'd want to do as a football player is to play a team that's out for blood, and I think we will be. And so I don't know what your thoughts are. You know, we're headed into it's crunch time now, and it's put up or shut up. But I think we are armed and dangerous. What do you think?
I think we just won a national championship.
What I do know is I know that Pete Carroll kind of was like that, you know, that energy guy, right? And what I've kind of noticed, right or wrong, maybe it's just my perception, Lincoln Riley usually is very measured, very reserved, very, you know, methodical, very just matter of fact. I saw an edge with him at the Big Ten media days. I saw a couple of questions kind of get under his skin. He didn't lose his composure, but you know, you ever seen that, Gary, where it's like that little twinkle where you see someone about to go off, but they have the calm just to pull it back and go and just make some really salient points saying, hey, look, you know, I'd put our history up with anybody in the Big Ten, and we didn't just start playing football. Just, I think USC, I've said it 3 times on this show. It's been a long offseason, but it's been a longer offseason for the players and coaches. I think they know what they have. I think they're ready to unleash it on the Big Ten. I think they have the talent. I think they have the coaching. It appears they have the culture in place. They have a lot going for them. All that's left is to show it in Las Vegas. And like we're saying, I think we're gonna know. We're gonna know about maybe 5 to 6 minutes, I think, into that third quarter, I think, is where I think we're gonna see what team we have. I think they're gonna come in out with some adjustments in the second half, maybe the first drive, maybe the beginning of the second drive of the third quarter. And I think that's when we're gonna see what this team is made of. I don't know. It's just a feeling that I have. I keep saying it. I literally, Gary, have no idea what this defensive line is going to be like. I know they're going to be good. Can they hold up for four quarters? Can they hit back when they're smashed in the mouth? It's going to happen a couple times this year. Are they going to hit back? And I'm looking at these guys. I'm saying, yeah, they're going to hit back. So I want to see it. I want to see it because, you know, otherwise.
Hey, Tim, I'm never going to forgive you for being such a bootlicker. Never.
But I know that this team, what it can be.
Are you feeling just as good about the linebackers? You don't have to go into detail.
I talked about it a little bit earlier. Yeah, I mean, I do like. There's a general sense of depth at linebacker. Really. I mean, I like it for what we have. I don't think a lot of SC fans yet know Easton McInerney's Arnold, but he was an all-conference player. He's a great tackler. I think that's good. We talked a little bit. It allows Mason Cobb to move from that mic over to Will Backer and just kind of play downhill and just play to his strengths, and then I think in the backup, backing up, Rajon Davis is a guy there at Mike linebacker that could help us out. Eric Gentry's played Mike linebacker. Then you get the young guys. We've been hearing about Elijah Newby. I mean, it'd be amazing. Garrison Madden's a really fast guy that hasn't really got on the field yet. I'd like to see what he can do. There's just a lot. I mean, there's the linebacker room is solid, but it's unproven. It's a lot. You know what? It's a lot like it's kind of the opposite of the secondary. It's like the secondary is a bunch of veteran guys, and then they haven't been at SC, but wherever they were starting. They weren't at USC, but they have veteran depth. They played. Whereas you have like at the other positions, like at the defensive interior, and then also just the whole defensive line in general. Once you get past a couple of guys, you start getting some young, talented, very uber talented guys that were coveted by everyone in the country, really. But it's not proven depth. I think at linebacker, I feel a lot more comfortable about proven depth. And the same thing in the secondary. So the question mark that you have is again, just that kind of question mark we have on the defensive line is how far have these guys come along, and how long will it take to get some of the younger guys ready to play? And it's tough to come in and play as a first or second year player, but I think that there's some uber talented players that could be able to do it. And Rajon Davis, is a bit of backup. I've been a big fan of his going all the way back to modern day. Yeah, he's had some health issues, but whenever he's got into games, you guys, he's got his helmet on the ball. He's in there. He's just around the play. So I'd love to see what his play is like. I feel bad for some of these guys because they haven't had the coaching. Well, now with the coaching under Entz, playing in Lynn's system, let's see what Rajon could do on the field. So yeah, I'm excited about the linebackers are a little deeper than the defensive line, but again, it gets kind of young pretty quick in that linebacker group.